Recap in minutes. In today's video, we will be enjoying a war action film, entitled Tunnel Rats. There will be spoilers ahead, chill out and enjoy. The movie begins as a U.S. soldier makes his way through the tunnels crawling. A rat is the only living creature he spots. The tunnel is now clear, he reports over the phone. When he sets it down and begins to crawl again. The soldier is slain when he is stabbed in the back with a wooden spear by one of the Viet Cong lurking below him. New enlistees are arriving at the American military facility at the same time as two soldiers are loading corpse bags into the chopper they arrived in. A tour is given to the new recruits, and one of the other soldiers, called Garrity, is the first person they meet. As they begin to unload their belongings, their commanding officer, Lieutenant Hollowborn, comes. He instructs them to make themselves comfortable because they will be traveling to their first tunnel the next day. Following his departure, a soldier by the name of Miller begins to grumble. The soldier who is standing next to him informs another that he is now on his bunk. He offers the other guy a deal, but the other soldier refuses to budge. Later on, Hollowborn gives the order to have a prisoner who is a member of the Viet Cong and who is responsible for the deaths of 5 of his soldiers put to death. Sergeant Heaney, one of the soldiers, attempts to convince Hollowborn that the Viet Cong member is still a soldier and convinces him of this point of view. Hollowborn informs him that members of the Viet Cong are not dressed in uniform and continues to request that he be killed. The soldiers have assembled around a tree where a Viet Cong soldier is positioned. He has a rope around his neck and is hanging on a high tree. After that, Heaney causes him to fall off the tree by pushing him, which results in his being hung and breaking his neck. As they leave, a significant number of the soldiers are filled with revulsion. The execution is carried out in front of an additional Viet Cong soldier who is hiding in the grass the whole time and watching it. Hollowborn is confronted by a fellow soldier by the name of Harris, who informs him that the execution of the Viet Cong constitutes murder. Hollowborn inquires as to whether or not he had an issue with the whole army or if we're only Hollowborn. Harris responds that the latter, which causes Hollowborn's board to grin. In the meanwhile, he starts to look at what he's done and starts crying very quietly. Two soldiers, Porterson and Johnson, sit down to lunch together and formally meet each other for the first time. Miller joins them, and he starts talking about his family life, during which he reveals his Jewish identity. Also, he fills them in on his mother's health crisis. Miller senses that he is not welcome at the table since the other two are quiet. After Miller leaves, Johnson and Porterson discuss how men like Miller end up dead because they speak too much in combat. He's so good at what he does that Johnson says he's like a seasoned soldier. In the meanwhile, Harris and Hollowborn are involved in a boxing match. Harris lashes out at the lieutenant, who he views as brutal, but is quickly defeated by Hollowborn. He goes on to inform Harris that his compassion and empathy are useless in that situation since they won't prevent death. Verano, one of the soldiers, has been known to grumble about the flavor of the meal. He gestures for him to come closer, and they engage in a conversation about his background. Verano asks whether he was ever afraid there, and he says no, that Verano should only worry about staying alive. Later, Verano and another soldier named Lidford to play a game of cards. The man spots Harris reading the Bible and commands him to turn to a passage he knows by heart. They are ridiculed by another soldier, Graybridge, for their religious faith. After an argument with Lidford, he leaves and runs into Corporal Green, whom Graybridge inquires as to whether or not he is a Christian. Once the conflict is over, Graybridge reveals to Green that he plans to start his own business. Then, Green asks him for assistance in obtaining water and explains that the issue with the Viet Cong is all that counts at the moment. Verano learns to smoke a cigarette from Lidford that night. Johnson warns them not to smoke at all before entering the tunnels, and Verano immediately begins coughing. Verano also notes that the Viet Cong will be able to detect their presence due to their pungent scent. Verano ultimately opens up about his time spent with his family in Michigan and how much he misses them. He tried to ask Lidford about his family, but Lidford got annoyed and told him to get off his bunk Porters and then tells Verano that his life before coming to Vietnam doesn't matter. The next morning, they trek through the forest to reach the tunnels while a few members of the Viet Cong scouted the area. For the sake of the mission, Garrity offers to go down first while the other men guard his back above. Green runs down to collect Garrity after hearing gunshots from the tunnel and discovering that Garrity has been wounded in the stomach. After Garrity is killed, Green returns to the tunnel to clear it with a grenade. Porterson, protected by his mask, is overcome by the gas they unleash within. After rescuing two Viet Cong, he returns to the compound to defuse an explosive trap. Lidford and Johnson are still underneath, but Johnson claims they've hit a brick wall and can go no farther. Johnson begins to climb out of the tunnel, But a Vietnamese woman named Mai has been waiting for him, and as soon as he pops his head out, she pierces his neck with a spear. Mai throws a grenade into the tunnel, and Porterson shouts to Johnson. She then exits via a different tube. She returns to her base and promptly pukes. She's just about to start washing her hands when a kid comes up to offer help. The kid hides in a hole, and she takes it in. During this time, Heaney and the other soldiers track down Johnson. Although another soldier agrees with Heaney that they must return to the other soldiers at the other end, he believes they should search for Porterson, who has apparently survived the blast. Mai goes up to a Viet Cong soldier and offers him food. Both of them provide a hand to the other at the death of a mutual friend. He then reports Johnson dead to the other troops. To find Porterson, he, Verano, and Green descend into the tunnel system. Harris makes many unsuccessful attempts to reach Hollowborn. The next thing he knows, he's crawling down a hole, and he's about to be killed by a trap full of sharp wooden spikes. Verano breaks down in tears and says he can't bear to leave Heaney. Although Green tries to convince him, he ignores her. His death at the hands of the Viet Cong came as he tried to make an escape attempt to the surface. Other Viet Cong members attack Lidford and Harris. Lidford grabs a pistol and aims to kill everyone there. Before they can flee through a hole, the Viet Cong shoots him dead. Still buried, Green discovers a cave-like space in the tunnels. Back at their base, he opens it and sees that it is indeed gray. He yells as the dead body falls on top of him. Viet Cong men began to burst through the camp, surprising the American forces. Green and Harris Lidford meet up underground. Green is told by Harris that Lidford has been wounded and that they must leave quickly since the Viet Cong is following them. Green then asks him where his other comrades are. Both Green and Harris seem oblivious to the fact that they are no longer present. Lidford becomes frantic. As fate would have it, they ran across Mike, who stabbed Lidford to death. Harris suggests they relocate, but Green responds that he's finished and soiled, then takes up a cigarette. After that, Harris walks away from him. In the meanwhile, American and Viet Cong forces continue their conflict. Injured, Hollowborn yells towards a phone, pleading for the other side to launch an airstrike. Miller and Graybridge swim downstream to avoid the Viet Cong. After being shot, Graybridge begins to declare his faith in God, but Miller stops him in time. Miller abandons him and kills one of the Viet Cong before fleeing. A Viet Cong fighter has finally caught up to him, and a battle has broken out between the two of them. Miller engages the Viet Cong in water wrestling, eventually overwhelming and drowning the enemy fighter. After returning to their base, Viet Cong scouts discover a fallen soldier who is still alive. In the act of rage, he raises a knife to stab him many times before his friend intervenes. The camp is then set ablaze with a flamethrower and explosives. Green is still with us and resting in the exact area where he was found. He is ambushed by two Viet Cong but manages to shoot. One of them dies before the other can stab him to death. Green turns the tables by stabbing himself with Viet Cong's dagger. He attempts to escape by crawling past a dead Viet Cong that he had stabbed with knives. In the meanwhile, Porterson discovers a tunnel underwater. He dives down into an underground Viet Cong base and swims through to the top. Patterson manages to get off a grenade toss before they can leap up and shoot him in the shoulder. While waiting for the explosion, he dives back down. When he returns, gun in hand, he discovers that all but one of the Viet Cong members in the room were killed in the explosion. That remaining member warns him not to shoot, then leads him and the porters to an exit tunnel, where they crawl out of sight while the Vietnamese man examines a picture of a woman at the moment of his passing. Inside the tunnels, Green comes upon a wooden wall and begins removing its boards with his knife. One of the Viet Cong seals the tunnel door behind him, and he had no idea they did it. The planks, which were broken, finally gave way under his hammer. The water in the tube rises steadily, and Green struggles as his light goes out. His dead body is shown thereafter. Crawling through the tunnels, Porterson ultimately emerges from the cave. When he returns to camp, he finds Miller waiting for him with a revolver drawn in surprise. Both of them take in the sights of their camp and the bodies of their slain friends. Harris crawls into a gap to find Mai, and two kids camped out there. Harris attempts to play with Mai, but Mai stands in front of the kids with a knife, and Harris simply wants to get through it. He tries to reassure her that he's not a murderer and that he can speak English, but Mai just keeps yelling at him in Vietnamese. He then makes a show of putting down his firearm to reassure her that he is not a threat to her or the kids. The defensiveness Mai has shown towards Harris has persisted. At that moment, an airstrike comes and sets fire to the whole camp. Mai also encourages the children. Use the tube to get away, but she would not let Harris go. Harris attempts to talk her out of staying so they can get away, but Mai keeps the knife pointed at him. The tunnels collapse due to earth tremors caused by the bombing. The movie ends with Maya and Harriet's survival, but the tunnels are covered by dirt and rubble. Harris finds a shovel, and the two of them start to dig a way out. They manage to find the hole, but it was filled with soil, so they kept on digging. She eventually stops to dig while Harris tries to continue on beside her. Although he starts to slow down, the movie ends as Maya inherits and grows weaker before the two of them eventually pass away. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this and help the channel grow.